Hi, this is Chris, and I've had my implant now for about a year and a half, and I've had lots of questions about my activation video, and I just wanted to give kind of an update and a bit of a history of how it all came about and answer some questions that people have had. So, as a kid growing up, I know that I could hear normal because I know what birds sound like and what crickets sound like and whatnot. I remember talking on the phone all the time with girlfriends with no problem at all. And towards the end of high school, a lot of my friends started kind of making jokes about the fact that I wasn't understanding what I was hearing and whatnot. And as I got closer to deciding to become a teacher and going to teachers college, I thought it was something that I should look into because I definitely need to hear as a teacher. And it came out that I had a pretty significant hearing loss, and that's when I went through the whole process of using hearing aids, which really they made the world around me really noisy, but it didn't help me hear any better. I found that I was relying on lip reading almost 80% of the time, and in one-on-one situations, it was pretty obvious what people were saying just because I was lip reading, but as soon as I couldn't see what people were saying, I couldn't hear anymore. It was then suggested that I go the route of getting an implant, and it's something that has just been an incredible experience and something that has changed my whole life and my family's life as well. So initially, the whole activation process was amazing, and that was in my previous video, and I talked about how as soon as it was turned on, I was just like flooded with sounds in my head, just a lot of beeps, and it sounded like a synthetic keyboard type of thing. And then I realized that all the beeps and sounds that I was hearing were actually the voices from the room that I was in, the computer fan, just different things that didn't sound anything like they should have. And within a few minutes, all of a sudden my brain just adjusted to it and everything kind of closed in, and I started to hear mechanical voices and different things like that, and I could start to make out what I was listening to, but it was really digital and robotic. And that kind of stayed for the first few months of the whole process. And I really had to go through and teach myself again how to hear everything. As soon as somebody turned on water, it was like a screaming noise in my head. I'd have to hold my keys because every time keys touched each other, it would just be like a slapping sound. Nothing sounded normal. Cars going by when I'd go for a walk sounded like turkeys gobbling. I'd be photocopying, and the photocopier just everything was weird, and I had to focus on everything that I was doing and kind of try to remember what those things sounded like and retrain myself to pull those sounds out of everything that I was hearing. And after a few months, I just started to gradually notice that certain things were sounding normal. The robot voices started to go away, and people started to sound clear and normal. I was starting to recognize a lot of sounds and whatnot. Something that surprised me right away was the fact that birds and crickets, they sounded normal almost instantly, and I could tell like different birds. I could tell, if there was one cricket out on the sidewalk somewhere, or if it was a group of crickets and that kind of thing. It just blows my mind how nothing really got fixed or repaired. They basically just took wires and shoved them through to your auditory nerve, and somehow your brain adjusts to it, and you can hear again. One of the biggest changes, like just being able to listen to the radio in the morning. Before I had the radio on, driving to school or whatever, and it was basically just on for noise. Now I can hear everything that's said, so when I go to school and meet up with my friends and whatnot, I can have conversations about whatever is on the news or what's going on in sports, and I can be a part of those things. Socially, I found myself really withdrawn because I had so much anxiety about not being able to hear people in groups, or even walking down the hall with two people when we're talking back and forth. If I couldn't keep up with the lip reading part, then I miss out on those conversations, and I always felt silly and awkward because I couldn't participate in those conversations. I couldn't hear what was going on, especially with background noise. And now, I mean, I can do all those things pretty much with ease. I still struggle a bit with the in the group situations or in noisy situations, but it's a lot better than it was. Even driving anywhere with my wife, and if it's nighttime, all of a sudden conversation had to stop because I couldn't hear anymore. Or if the kids were trying to talk to me from the back seat, obviously I can't turn around if I'm driving, so I couldn't participate in those conversations. And now I can hear all that. I would come home, and even my kids wanted to tell me something about their day, and I would just okay, well, tell me. And no, Daddy, look at me. And they'd have to hold my face and make me look at them, because they knew that I had to read their lips in order to understand. And now I can do all those things. I can be cooking in the kitchen, or do whatever, and just have those conversations. I can be watching TV and somebody can talk to me from the other room and whatnot. So it's really changed my life. It's changed the whole family dynamic and whatnot, just because I'm able to hear. I'm a teacher, never really been able to hear in the classroom, and luckily, I've been good at what I do, and the kids understand that I've had a hearing issue. But think about, doing presentations. The kids would go through their presentation, and then I would have to ask them specific questions to get what I want out of it, so I could basically lip read when their presentation's done, and they'd be saying, well, but I already said that in my presentation. And I say, well, I just want you to answer it this way. But really, I was just trying to lip read so I could understand what was going on. I had a situation early in my teaching career where I was doing something with the class, and all of a sudden they just got up to leave. And I'm like, I didn't dismiss you yet, go sit down. And they said, well, there's a fire alarm going off. And I'm like, oh. So there's just been lots of situations where it's been difficult and challenging not to be able to hear, and now I'm just immersed in a world that it's crazy and wonderful, and I can pretty much hear everything I need to. I still don't have much hearing in my right ear, and I'm actually going in for my second implant in a couple weeks. And that whole being able to have the two ears, like right now, whether I'm at home or in the classroom, I don't know where sounds are coming from. I have difficulty understanding how loud certain things are, and by having both ears working and having kind of that surround sound, that total picture, is supposed to help out a lot with that. So I'm looking forward to that. One of the biggest challenges that I had early on in relearning how to hear was people would come up to me and just start talking to me, and all I would hear is noise, and I'd have that kind of anxiety, and I just had to learn to relax and listen to it and let it kind of come into my head, because that noise that I was hearing was actually their voices, and I had to consciously always be aware of it and just kind of accept it and focus on it. And now all of those things are natural. As far as I'm concerned now, everything that I listen to sounds the way it should sound. It comes from my head now instead of from the source. And again, I don't know if I'm listening to birds or if somebody calls my name. I don't necessarily know where it's coming from if I don't have like a visual perspective of it. But again, when I get my second implant, that should all become a lot easier for me. I don't have to use captions on the TV anymore. I can hear most of what happens. Going to movies, I can hear most of the things, and again, it depends on the movie and depends on the background noise that's in the movie and how much conversation there is, but it's something that, again, there's so many little things that you take for granted that now all of a sudden I can be a part of again and feel normal with. So it's pretty incredible. Even talking on the phone, all I have to do is push a button on my remote, and the phone itself goes directly to my head, so I can block out any sounds in the room and just have that one-on-one conversation with somebody on the phone. It's something that I haven't done for probably almost 20 years type of thing, and now I can hear everything that's said on the phone. My TV itself, if I need to, I can, again, just using my remote, and I can have the TV go directly to my head so that I can hear whatever's going on, and I can walk around and do whatever I need to do around the house, and I can still listen to the TV or whatever I need to. So it's definitely, it's just an amazing piece of technology. And I know that watching a lot of videos and activation videos and 1 year anniversaries of being activated and all that, I know results vary tremendously from person to person. These are just my results, and it's been outstanding. Like, my being able to understand words when I'm not lip reading, I was less than 20%, and now I'm over 90 with my left ear. So the possibility of having both ears working is definitely a pretty exciting thing for me. So that is about it for now, and I plan on putting out another video when I have both ears going so that people can see how that works. One of the other things is music. Music was something that was completely abstract after activation, just that whole mix of complex sounds with so many instruments, plus the voices coming through with very alien and just really, really strange and annoying. And now it's still not great, but it's a lot better, and I can just see that whole progress piece, and it just continues to get better. So that's something that's still a little ways away, but it's something that I can enjoy music now, although it's not perfect. I've been to some concerts and that kind of thing, but just being able to hear like violins and high notes on a guitar and a piano has been something that is really, really neat for me. And that's something that I've had to bear in mind with this whole thing, that it is a process. And initially there's such a steep curve where all of a sudden you can hear so many different things, and you want more, and it kind of plateaus for a little bit, and it's easy to get discouraged and think, is this it? And it just keeps getting better over time, and certain things that you kind of wonder, am I ever going to get over this? Is it ever going to sound natural? Almost all of those things are now natural, and it's just something that I've had to learn to just keep pushing through it and practicing, and just staying positive with it. And luckily I've been able to meet other people that have had implants, and they, oh yeah, I remember the robot voices, or oh yeah, I remember when things sounded like that. And it just really helped me to see that, yeah, there still is a chance that this will become natural, and that this is just all part of that process, and that nothing's wrong. And so just staying positive and knowing that if I keep working at it, it will get normal. But it's definitely something that has changed my life. It's changed my career. It's changed my family life and relationship with my kids and people around me, and just being willing now to go and being a part of a conversation, because I know that I'll be able to hear it and whatnot. I mean, it's just a pretty powerful thing. So thank you for your questions. Keep questions coming. And again, my next video will be coming out in probably a few months when I adjust to implant number 2, and we'll see what kinds of changes and differences come out of that. So thank you, and watch for me later.